Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? Monday afternoon it's at 5:30 here in Eastern time. All right, we got volume. We are ready to rock. Cool. Okay, so thank you everybody for tuning in. Much appreciated. Thank you. I'll wait for a few folks to come online, but as you guys are hopping on, like we do every week about this time, go ahead, let me know what state you're coming in from, what your sub-market is, and get a pen and paper ready because I think you guys are going to enjoy this next part. I think it's going to be very, very illuminating. So hop on, guys. I see a few people are already on. Let me know where you're coming in from and come say hi. Come say hi. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull open a couple things while I wait for a few folks. But we are, can you believe it? We are at the end of the month of January. We're rocking our way into February. Let me know, guys, okay, in the chat if you guys are on track to hit your 2022 goals so far. If you are, give me a +1 in the chat. If you're not quite on par, give me a +2 in the chat, right? Okay. I see Brian coming in from Virginia. Nice to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. I see Michael's coming in from Washington, D.C. Awesome. I'd love to see it. Love to see it. So guys, do me a favor. As I mentioned a second ago, make sure you have a pen and paper handy because it's going to be coming in handy in just a second. It's going to be a first part of our discussion today. But so today is going to be about the 3 top activities you need to be doing daily, right? Because think of it this way, folks, right? There's things you can do to be busy, and then there's things that you can do to be effective, right? So we want you to be effective and highly effective as much time of the day as possible, right? So which also reminds me, guys, if you can do me a favor, my whole job here is to pay it forward. I'm trying to help as many people this year as possible, right? So if you can help me help others, do me a favor and smash the like button, the thumbs up button, as well as the heart button. That lets Facebook algorithm know that we're here, we're engaging, we're having a good time, and it sends the message out further to other people so that they can get their weekly fill of CRE basic training. All right, guys. So do me a favor if you can do that. Oh, I love it. I can see it. I can see it coming. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Smash that button as much as you can because today is going to be a good one. Now, like I was saying a moment ago, right? You can do a lot of activities. Like you can be busy. You can shuffle the papers on your desk. You can do this, you can do that. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing the right activities, you're not going to get the optimal level of, in this case, income, right? That's why we're all here. We're here to make an income so we can improve our lives, help our clients, improve the lives of our family, our community, so on and so forth, send our kids to better schools, live in nicer places, be just a better citizen of the world, right? So as we're going through that, just keep that in mind, guys. The more effective you are, because think about it, Elon Musk, and I say this all the time, Elon Musk gets the same 24 hours as you and I do, right? But yet that guy is able to be so incredibly prolific. You know, he accomplishes so much in a given period of time. So at the end of the day, you really have to consider, am I maximizing my hours? If you are, then kudos to you, because none of us really have the time or the inclination or the energy to work double what we're already working. We're probably already pretty much dialed in and working as much as we can. So the next thing is, okay, of those hours that I do work, how can I get the most juice out of the grape, so to speak? How can I get the last couple of drops out of there? Because you know, all you need, there is a cumulative effect. If you just make one more dial at the end of the day, right? One more dial is going to equal 250 extra dials by the end of the year. For some people, that's a good week of prospecting, right? So at 50 dials a day, that's a solid week of prospecting, and that's by making one extra dial a day. So as you can see, the cumulative effect of making the hours that you are working throughout the day just a little bit better, just a little couple more drops out of the grape, so to speak, it's going to have a massive cumulative effect over the course of your year. Okay, guys, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the presentation. And if you can do me a favor and let me know if you give me a +1 in the chat when you see weekly training 13122. All right, so I'm gonna pull up my, what's going on here? This thing is spazzing out on me. Whoa, go back. Go back. What are you doing? So I just updated my computer and it's got like this new, it's like Windows 365 and I'm just not super jazzed on it. So, but hang on, let me go to my Zoomy. It's like technology, I'm pretty good at it. I'm good enough to be dangerous, but sometimes it's just like, ugh. So, okay, got this. All right. So, all right. Darn it. This is going to be a pain. All right. So I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Hang on. It's a big Miami song, super duper popular. Okay, I think it was on Miami Vice originally. All right, hang on, ready? We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go from the beginning, and then we're gonna go ahead and share that screen, and we are ready to rock. Here we go. Boom. All right, guys, can you let me know when you see weekly training 1 through 31-22? Okay, here we go. Okay, so guys, what I want you to do with the pen and paper that you have, okay, make sure you write down your income goal for this year, okay? Your income goal for 2022, okay? And then once you write down that income goal, right? Think about it, because we all think about this sort of thing, okay? Anyone that says they don't think about their income, they're full of it, right? Because what we want to do is we want you to be comprehending what it is that where you want to go, because if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there, right? Okay. The next part is I want you to take your 2021 income. Now you don't have to write that down, but I want you to write it down on your side, not in the chat, okay? Because this is personal information, but write down what you want to make in 2022. Okay, we're only 1 month in, so there's plenty of time, right? I want you to write down what you made in 2021. Okay, got that? Then I want you to take and subtract what you want to make. What you made in 2021 from what your goal is for 2022. Okay, very, very powerful. The next step. Okay, we are going to show you what that means. Like, what does this help, right? What this means, this is the gap that your lack of knowledge is costing you. I'm going to say that again. This is what the gap in your knowledge is costing you, because what you want to make is what your potential is. What you currently make is what you make. The difference between your potential and where you are right now, that's the gap in your knowledge. I wanted to put this into perspective for you because I wanted you to understand, okay? Because once you put things in a perspective, you get to show people, why doing these things and getting the most out of your day is so important, right? So what we're going to cover today is we're going to cover how to figure out your hourly price, okay? We're going to figure out how to offload non-essential tasks. And finally, the crux of the entire presentation today is the top 3 activities that you need to be doing daily. Brian said, nice voice. Oh, thank you, dude. Appreciate it. David gave me a +1, and Brian said, we can see it. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you interacting and stuff, right? So now, in order to figure out your hourly price, you have to take your annual goal. So I'm just going to do a simple goal of $200,000, right? This is simple math. Simple math, he says, because the average person, let's just say, that we only work 40 hours and we're only working 50 hours a year. I'm sorry, 50 weeks of the year, because we're going to take 2 weeks off to spend on vacation with our families. But what we want to do is we want to take and we divide whatever your annual goal is, divide it by 2,000, and that's going to give you your hourly rate. Now, for some reason, this PowerPoint's getting crazy. It's like on some sort of timer. Like I said, I just got a new version of this thing, but we're going to have to go a little bit old school, right? But here we are, right? So what we want to do is we want to go back a slide or two. Boom. Okay. And here we go. Yeah. So you take your goal, you divide by 2,000, and that is your hourly rate. Now, here's the most important part, right? You cannot do anything during your 40 hours a week that is worth less than your hourly rate. Okay. Does that make sense to you folks? Right? If you do, you're going to bring down your hourly average. Okay. And what's going to wind up happening is You're going to do things that are going to drag down how much your earnings potential is, and you're not going to be able to hit your earnings potential. That's the problem. That's the problem with creating flyers. That's the problem with uploading properties to the MLS, LoopNet, and CoStar. That's the problem with doing a lot of research, right? Is if it's not going to generate you, in this case, $100 an hour, 200,000 divided by 2,000 equals $100 an hour. If you're not doing $100 an hour work, guess what? You're never going to be able to earn 200,000 that year. Does that make sense, folks? If you're not earning your hourly rate, okay? Even though we don't really technically have an hourly rate, it's like a theoretical rate. So anything that's worth less than $100 an hour, you have to outsource. How do we do that? Okay. The first step is you write out all the duties in your business. Okay. You write from everything you need to do. Like, so for instance, in my business, and I'm going to show you what I created a flow chart for Dark Horse, right? In terms of what we do. We step 1, step 2, step 3, from finding a property to closing it and putting a check in your pocket, right? Or putting a check in your bank account, right? And then once you see all the steps, then you analyze what you don't have to do. When you start saying, wait a minute, that's $20 an hour work. That's $15 an hour work. Oh, I can get a freelancer on Upwork to do that for $30 an hour, whatever it is. As long as it's not, I should say, so long as it's not $100 an hour, so it's less than $100 an hour, guess what? You need to be delegating the rest, okay? Because if you're not delegating, we have to be master delegators. We can't wear all the hats. If you wear all the hats, you're going to wind up making less money than you are potential to make. Here's what I mean, right? Think of it this way. If you don't have an admin, you are your own admin, okay? So if you don't have one, you are one. So it's very, very important to understand that concept, right? So you need to be doing as many of the essential tasks during the day as humanly possible. What does that mean? Okay, we want to be doing the things that only you can do, only you're capable. Like, so whether it's interfacing with clients, whether it's doing your follow-ups, whatever that is, whatever that only you are capable of doing in your business, maybe it's paying the bills. You're not going to be able to do the top 3 activities 100% of the day, but the more during the day that you can, the better off you're going to be, okay? This is how high-producing brokers become high-producing brokers, by pushing off all the non-essential activities, by having someone else do that, because what you're essentially doing is you're multiplying yourself, or conversely, you can look at it like you are buying your day back from your admin, right? So when you pay somebody, you know, $20 an hour to do 2 hours of work, guess what? You just bought back 2 hours of your day in order to be more effective, to do more prospecting, to go on more meetings, to try to get more listings, so forth, right? So even though it's not super duper clear here, because it's a small screen, my process is basically, you research a property, you call the expired, you set the meeting, you get the listing. Once the listing is signed, then you blast it with MailChimp, you field inquiries, you field offers, so on and so forth, right? So there's a very clear path that I go down, and I sat here and I analyzed all the different pieces, right? And through analyzing those pieces, I realized there's a bunch of things that I could be offloading. There's a bunch of things I needed to do still myself, but if I could offload half of that, guess what? I bought myself back 3 or 4 hours of the day at, 15 or 20 bucks an hour, right? So what you guys need to be doing as much as humanly possible, prospecting, presenting, and following up, right? If you aren't doing these 3 tasks more than half the day, you're leaving a ton of money on the table. You need to be doing prospecting, presenting, and following up for at least half of your day. What does that mean? Hour to an hour and a half of prospecting, another half hour to an hour of following up with people previously. And when I say prospecting, I mean cold calling. I mean reaching out to people who you have never spoken to before, okay? Following up is deals you have in motion. People you spoke to a month ago, people you spoke to a year ago, previous clients, okay? That's going to be the next step, right? The presenting is going to be, who are you going to get in front of so that you can give them a presentation so that you can list their property to sell for them, okay? That's the presenting part. The more you, and then that's where you make the most amount of money, is prospecting and presenting, because you are meeting new people and getting in front of new people in order to be able to get the business and get the listings, right? Then the final part is following up with the people that you've met with, following up with the people that you've cold called, so on and so forth. You need to be doing all three of these things all day. Because again, if you aren't doing it, you're leaving a ton of money on the table. Very, very important. The more you can do, you control your outcome. I should say, the more you control your input, the more you control your income, right? So you got to remember, prospecting, presenting, following up. I promise you guys, the more you do, the more money you'll put in your pocket at the end of the year. So the more you will shrink that gap between where you were last year, where you want to be this year. You're going to want to close that gap. And the more hours you get out of your day, the more productivity you get out of your day, the more you shrink that gap. There's also going to be a gap for knowledge as well, right, guys? There's certain things that you might not know how to do, right? In prospecting, presenting, following up, you might not have a solid a pitch when you get somebody on the phone. You might not have solid objection handling skills. You might not know how to present to somebody. You might not know the right way to go back, the right way to sequence and reach out to people while following up. Like, because there's a fine line between being really annoying and consistently persistent, right? So again, guys, by not knowing how to prospect, by not knowing how to properly present and get listings, by not knowing how to follow up without people putting you, blocking you on their phone, it's going to be costing you money, right? What you don't know is costing you money. I want you guys to absolutely knock it out of the park this year. The way you do that is by closing the gap between what you know and what you don't know. Because if you already had the skills to make what you wanted, you'd already be making it. You guys with me, right? So like Einstein says, what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. So my question to you, the thing I want to leave you guys with today, okay, is what's going to change this year unless you change the way you're doing things? What's going to change this year until you change the way you are doing things? Okay, food for thought. Okay, guys, if you're interested in learning more, I would love nothing more than to have a conversation, explain to you what it is that we do so I can help you folks, right? So I can help guide you. We have a 6-month training program where we help agents learn to go through every single step of the process. So by the time you're done with your time with us, you know exactly what to say, you know exactly who to call, you know exactly how to say it, you know how to get listings, how to give an effective presentation, you know how to market properties to drastically increase your chances of double ending the deal. Because last time I checked, making $2 for a piece of work is way better than making $1 for the same piece of work, right? And then finally, how to put it all together and scale your business so you can bring on employees, you can multiply yourself, you can get some time back so you can spend it with yourself, playing golf, with your loved ones, at your kids' t-ball games, whatever it is that you want to do. So if you want to make more money, you want to have more time with your family, do me a favor and type hashtag training in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation with you and show you what it is that we do. We can't help everybody. Not everybody, what they're looking for is what we do, but what we can do is for the right people, for the people that are looking to grow their business by working with sellers, by taking listings and effectively marketing those properties to be able to close as many properties as possible this year. That's certainly something that we can have a conversation about and see if what we do might be able to help you. Okay, guys? But as usual, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Without you, right, you guys, thank you for being the best part of CRE Basic Trading, because without you, there's no us. So any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm available on Messenger and so forth. And if you're interested in the 6-month training program, and we also have other products and programs and so forth that we offer, by all means, put hashtag training in. If you can decide right here, right now, that 2022 is going to be the year that you level up and you get to where you're going, you knock that ball out of the park, boom, then hit me up, hashtag training, let me know. I'd be happy to talk to you, and then we'll see what we might be able to do. In the meantime, guys, thanks for being here. I look forward to seeing you next Monday, 5:30. And in the meantime, go out, crush it, make a ton of dials, meet new people, put new people in your CRM, go out and see the people. And I would love nothing more than to see you all succeed. Take care. Have a great week. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.